Hey everybody, Mac here, and we are working on completing the square. This one is version B, meaning that there is a version A, and then there's also one that there's a video of me working this out on a whiteboard. These are a little trickier than version A, so make sure you've seen version A first. Now, the way I do this is there's a few different ways I can do this. First of all, remember I told you when we were factoring to go ahead and add 9 to both sides. So watch this, x squared plus 10x plus 21 equals 0. You always want to do that first because once I did that, what I noticed is I can actually factor this out. And I don't want to waste any of our time on this because I can do this, x plus 7, x plus 3, and my answers are going to be -7 and -3. You've seen me do that before. But what happens when it doesn't work out so pretty? Because watch this. I'm going to add 1 to both sides. I'm going to get x squared minus 6x plus 2 equals 0. Can I really do anything with that? The answer is no, I can't. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to subtract 2 to both sides, which means we just flipped it back over. That's okay. We know how to rearrange furniture. Now, the way we do complete the square is we want to get this into what we call the trinomial square form. The way you get there is you take the middle and you take half of it. What's half of 6? 3. Then you square it. What's 3 squared? 9. You add 9 to the left, and if you add 9 to the left, it means you have to add 9 to the right, correct? And I'm going to go straight here. X minus 3 quantity squared. That's how we do a trinomial square, okay? And if you were to factor this out, and just like the way you factor, you would get x minus 3, x minus 3. And so that's why we do this. That's going to equal 7. Now I'm going to square root both sides, and I'm going to get, now I've got to move over to the side a little bit here. Let's see, can I didn't leave myself a whole lot of room. And that'll give me x minus 3 equals plus or minus root 7. Once I add 3 to both sides, I'm going to get x equals 3 plus or minus root 7, and that is the answer, and I will be a little more conservative on the space that I use. Okay, so now, the best way really to do this is just to start with the moving everybody to the right. So let's just move everybody to the right. Okay, all my numbers. Keep all my letters over here. Plus 12x equals, add a line, change a sign. And once I add a line, change a sign, that's going to become a -27. Agreed? Now, what's half of 12? 6. What's 6 squared? 36. Add 36. You always add. And I'm going to add 36 there. Boom. Now, what does this become? This will become an x plus 6 quantity squared, and this will become a positive 9. All right? What happens if that became a -9? Can you square something and have it come out negative? The answer is no, you can't. You'll get a no solution. Anyway, let's keep going with this. Okay? X plus 6 equals plus or minus square root of 9. Well, what is the square root of 9? It's 3. So now, -6 minus 6, boom, die. X equals -6 plus or minus 3. Well, I can do that. And if you get something like that, you should finish it. What is a -6 plus positive 3? That's a -3. What's a -6? Add a line, change a sign. That's going to be a -9. These are your two answers. So now on this one, I can tell already if I would have added 9 to both sides, I would have been able to solve it, okay? So again, I made a bet that it wouldn't, and it just took me a little longer to solve, but I did still get the right answer. So let's do this one right here. Yeah, it's always good to check, because watch this one. -4 minus 4, boom, die. I'm going to get x squared minus 4x, add a line, change the sign, minus 5 equals 0. Now watch what happens here, my friends. Third term is a negative. Signs are different. What multiplies to 5 but subtracts the 4? 5 and 1. The 5 gets the sign of the negative. boom. My answers are -1 and +5. That's why it's always good to check, all right? Because that obviously was a lot quicker than doing it the other way. Okay, so let's do this one. I'm going to do this in my head just a little bit. If I +4 and +4, that's going to become a 7. 7 times 1 will add to 8, so guys, we're just going to do it. So this one is a little bit mixed on whether or not you want to use that or not, use to complete the square or not. So once I get this, I get my parentheses, and I'm going to get an x plus 7, and I'm going to get an x plus 1, so my answers are -7 and -1. All right, let's go on to number 6, okay? So now if I subtract 4 and subtract 4, I'm going to get a 37, and 37 ain't going to give me a 14, so I kind of did that. I go, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to keep going on that. I'm going to -41 on both sides. So now I'm going to get an x squared minus 14x equals -37. All right, well, what's half of 14? It's 7. What's 7 squared? 49. So I'm going to add 49 to both sides. Once I do that, that's going to become an x minus 7 quantity squared equals, what is that going to be? That's going to be an 8, isn't it? Okay, a +8. And so now when I do this, I'm going to get an x minus 7 equals plus or minus √8. I'm going to add 7 and add 7, and I'm going to get x equals 7 plus or minus √8. Now, √8, I can tell you right now, if we were to break that down, and this is really up to your teacher, I would probably accept that. But this breaks down to 4 times 2, 2 times 2, boom, boom, 2 √2. So you may want to go 7 plus or minus 2 √2. That really is the simplest form. And I bet you anything that's what the answer key says. Let's go to number 6. Yep, but they said 2 √3. 7 plus or minus 2 √3. Well, I've seen problems in answer keys before, so I'm going to let that go. Here's what we did. I got really, really little cocky here. That's 12. That's 12. Go away. That's 12. That's 12. See what I did there? I made an error, and you probably saw that before I did, didn't you? That's going to be 4 times 3, 2 times 2, so it's 2 √3. I made a boo-boo. Okay, I'll be a little more careful. I did this in my head, that's why. Okay, don't do it in your head. If I took the time to go 49 minus 37, I would have easily seen that that was 12. But I didn't. I did it in the head, in my head. Okay, so don't do that. Okay, so if I go -1, that's going to become a negative, oh boy, a -15. And I can just tell in my head that's going to work. So always try that first. I'm going to get x squared plus 2x minus 15 equals 0. Now I'm going to try to factor it out. Third term is a negative. Signs are different. Take the factors of 5. We'll subtract the 2. Well, that's going to be 5 and 3. The bigger one gets a sign. And so this one, my answer is going to be -5 and a +3. And by the way, if I went out and did complete the square, I would have came up with that anyway. I still would have got that answer. But there's no need to do that if it works out nice and evenly. I'm just going to do this one. Whether it works evenly or not, I don't even care. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to go -46. Boom, die. X squared minus 16x space equals -46, and a +4 is a -42. Now, what's half of 16? 8. What's 8 squared? 64. Now I'm going to add 64. This time I'm not going to be lazy, and I'm going to write 64 and a -42, and I'm going to get myself a 22. Okay? Cool. So now, parentheses, x minus 8 squared equals 22. Boom, 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 boom. X minus 8 equals plus or minus root 22. Once I add 8 to both sides, boom, die. X equals 8 plus or minus root 22, and I am done. Okay, I can't break, that's just 11 times 2. That's not going to break down anymore. All right, let's go with number 9. I am going to, you know what? I'm going to do this anyway. I'm going to go plus 6. I'm going to go plus 6. Watch what happens here. X squared plus 6x equals 7. Now, what's half of 6? 3. What's 3 squared? 9. So I want to add 9 to both sides, boom and boom. And I'm going to get an x plus 3 quantity squared equals 16. Once I square root both of these, I'm going to get an x plus 3 equals plus or minus, what's square root of 16? It's just 4. So now I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides, and I'm going to get x equals negative 3 plus or minus 4. So now when I do this, what's a negative 3 plus 4? 1. What's negative 3 minus 4? Well, add a line, change the sign. That's going to be a negative 7. I've been showing you that you don't always have to use complete the square, but what if a teacher specifically wants you to and it comes out like this? I should show you how to do this. So basically, if you can pull a number out of a square root, pull it out, and this is what you do. I could have subtracted 1 to both sides and just did 2 parentheses. Okay, but that's how we would do it if we did it that way. Okay, this one I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to subtract 73 from both sides. Boom. I'm going to get x squared minus 18x space equals negative 73, and a positive 4 would be a negative 69. Would you agree? Now, what is half of 18? 9. What is 9 squared? 81. So I'm going to go plus 81 to both of these. Now, why did I do that? I did that because this is now in the trinomial square form, which is x minus 9 squared. When half of the middle is the same as the square root of 81, that's when we get to do this. So now I'm going to go 81 and 69, boom, 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 and I see that I'm going to get a 12 right there. My bigger number is positive, so yay. Now I'm going to square root both of these guys, boom, boom. X minus 9 equals root 12. X equals, add 9 to both sides. 9 plus or minus root 12. But as we did earlier, 12 can be 4 and 3, which can be 2 and 2, which means it's going to be 9 plus or minus 2 root 3. All right, and there is B on completing the square. So they're a little bit different. If you really want to feel good, if this still feels a little bit funky to you, go to C, and then you'll be a pro at completing the square.